Hey, Nelson's Crypto here. Today, just want to talk a little bit about Ethereum, why I'm extremely bullish on Ethereum, and why I think you should be acquiring Ethereum and holding it for the next bull run. I easily think Ethereum could 10x from here. I don't see why not. It's got an extremely bullish chart. The supply is completely out in circulation. More and more of it's getting staked. The Ethereum addresses are going up and up as far as active activity. This right here proves to me that Ethereum just keeps getting built on, keeps getting used. More and more people are opening addresses and buying Ethereum. I feel like now that you can stake it, the transition with the merge from proof of work to proof of stake went really smoothly. I feel like the developers on Ethereum are some of the best out there. And I really like to see this chart here. You can see the address creations, the amount of active addresses have just not slowed down whatsoever, even through the bear market. I mean, it's just shooting straight up, right? So that right there is a great sign. Here we'll look at the staked ether. So I don't know what percentage is staked right now. I know it's extremely low, between 15 and 20%. And cryptos out there like Cardano are around 60 to 65%, I believe, staked. What's pretty amazing is there's currently 82,000 validators waiting to stake as well. And if you times that by 32 ETH, which is the average staking balance, I believe that's around 2.5 million Ethereum. So that's about another 10%, 11% of Ethereum. You can just see straight up that the amount staked is just keep rising and rising and rising. I think easily, I mean, if this can double, triple, I think it can easily hit 50, 60% stake. That's extremely bullish, along with the fact that it is deflationary at this point. So the Ethereum supply ever since the merge has been slowly decreasing. Not a whole lot you can see, but as soon as activity started picking up here in April, you can see how quickly it has started to dip. And I think this is only going to increase as more activity goes on, as more developers come on, and as the next bull market comes in. A lot of people are coming in and out. There's going to be an extreme amount of deflationary activity on Ethereum. A lot of people are going to say, well, what about the fees, Nelson? Well, let's get into that. So Ethereum scaling. So Ethereum is trying to make it cheaper, right? So rollups collect large number of transactions, execute them, and submit the results to Ethereum. This generates a lot of data that needs to be openly available so anyone can execute the transactions for themselves and verify that the rollup operation was honest. If someone finds a discrepancy, they can raise a flag. So that's kind of the problem with Ethereum is all the storage of the data. So they have to find a way to discard data. They're going to do proto-dank sharding. So roll-up data is stored on Ethereum permanently, which is expensive. Over 90% of the transaction costs users pay on rollups is due to this data storage. So look at that. If they can deal with the data storage right there, that's 90% of the transaction cost. So if they can even cut that in half or a third, I mean, that's huge. I mean, who knows? Maybe they can get it down to like 10% of that. That would be amazing. So to reduce transaction costs, we can move the data into a new temporary blob storage. Blobs are cheaper because they are not permanent. They get deleted from Ethereum once they are no longer needed. Storing roll-up data long-term becomes the responsibility of the people that need it, such as roll-up operators, exchanges, indexing services, etc. Adding blob transactions to Ethereum as part of an upgrade known as proto-dank sharding is expected to be shipped relatively soon, perhaps in late 2023. So that's in the next 6 months. Hopefully they can get this to come out. It can bring down the cost, right? Bring down gas fees, which would be huge. That's what everyone complains about. That's why everyone's says they're going to leave Ethereum. If you don't think Ethereum realizes that the gas fees are a problem, if you don't think they've thought about that, I think you're kind of foolish. If you don't think they're going to solve that, I also think you're kind of foolish. If they can move this blockchain from proof of work to proof of stake, I don't see why they can't. Roll out proto-dank sharding and decrease transaction costs, which will just bring in more users, more users. I mean, people are like, oh, they're moving to Solana. Well, Solana's been down 2 or 3 times, right? Solana's had issues itself. I mean, every crypto has had issues itself. Ethereum's team, though, is extremely smart, and they're on top of it. They understand what to do. So price action a little bit. It has been following this trend line up here. It's touched it a couple times. I do think that's a good buy point if you want to buy in. I would probably wait for a dip or a little bit of sideways action here and hit this. But a couple price points to watch is right around 2016 dollars. There is some good resistance in that range, and then we have some resistance up in here in the 2150 range. If we break out of this 2150 area to the upside, I think that's extremely bullish. But if not, if we hit either of these spots and we bounce back down, we very easily could hit this trend line and bounce back up. Who knows? But we might also break this trend line, which, you could see a good dip down here to like 1400, 1500 potentially. I think so. I would dollar cost average. Don't just go in and buy a whole bunch. I don't know what everyone's doing. I'm definitely buying little bits and little bits. I like to wait for it to hit support resistance levels or breakthroughs in order to buy. Set your alerts, pay attention, but don't just go buy a whole bunch of Ethereum. But basically, you guys got it. The addresses are increasing immensely. The amount of crypto being staked is increasing immensely. And you have, of course, lots of people going onto the network, and they are dealing with transaction fees. I think that's going to come out and that's going to be solved. I don't think that's going to be a problem. In the last year, you can see it's up 66.5%, which is another thing I think is huge. Because you're finding most of the cryptos that have pumped in the last year, to me, are the ones that people are paying attention to and they are buying into. A lot of the cryptos I see that are down in the last year, probably people are just exiting. I don't know that people really like it. I'm not sure about the dilution ratio with those cryptos, but with all these factors given in, I think Ethereum is extremely bullish. I do see a 10x potential next bull run. I could easily see $20,000 to $25,000 price range. I think a minimum of 10 to 15, bare minimum, easily 20 to 25, and maybe even higher. And I do think that one day Ethereum, potentially with all the applications built on top of it, it's basically like the internet money at this point. When you see a lot of NFTs, all the major NFTs and everything, it's all priced in Ethereum price, right? So Ethereum is like almost like the money of the internet. I would say Bitcoin is like the gold of the internet. It's more of store of value, and Ethereum is more of like the money of the internet. So as long as they can solve those transaction fees, which, like I said, if they can do all the development they've already done, I don't see why they can't solve that. It's just a matter of time. People are gonna have to sit back, be patient, but bar none, this is one of the top cryptos out there. If you don't have it in your portfolio, I think you should definitely add it. All right, guys, see you next time.